But anyway, for all of this time, I have been quite happy and fulfilled to have found my place with you in the private sector, a volunteer trying to do his part. So, getting to the meat of the matter, why am I standing here tonight? Lisa has asked me that often in the last 2 months. But I want to tell you basically 3 beliefs. Number one, first, I believe that those of us now living in Tupelo do have a precious gift. A community that does care about each other, a community that nurtures our families, that provides good jobs, that values public education, that is safe and solvent. But this gift, this quality of life, does not automatically, magically reside here. And if we take it for granted, if we become too self-absorbed in our own private lives and private concerns, that our dedication to our community is pushed aside, then we will lose it. And while our elected leadership does not, cannot, and should not provide all of our community's leadership, I believe that they do set the tone, they can rally the Tupelo spirit, they do present our city's image to others and to ourselves. And while our city council has a significant and a powerful role to play, the mayor does have, among other powers, the important power of example and can make a difference. Second, I believe that Tupelo is on the cusp of one of the most significant periods in our history. We are at an economic intersection. As our local companies, and in particular our furniture industry, struggle to compete in the global market, and thank goodness some of them are continuing to compete successfully, like Mary's company and others, but there are pressures there, and in many of our other companies. I mean, our unemployment rate is almost still 9%. Here, that's too high for the kind of community we want. As our financial markets are undergoing fundamental realignment, as young adults increasingly decide where they want to live and then they look for a job there, Tupelo, Lee County, and Northeast Mississippi get ready to welcome the world's economic development plumb to our doorstep, the Toyota Motor Company and its cluster of suppliers. So in our own way, this is for us like Beijing's opportunity was to host the Olympic Games. Through the hard work and vision of many of you in the CDF, and I see David Rumbar and I see Randy Kelly here tonight, the CDF and the Pull Alliance, the world is coming to Tupelo. It will take all of our best thinking, our creative thinking, our business sense to take maximum advantage of these opportunities. As we say to our young suit customers when they come into the store for their job interview, you only get one chance to make a good first impression. In the next 4 years, perhaps more than any other recent time, our elected leaders will need to have a firm grasp of the economy, and they will be crucial ambassadors to our new friends around the world. And third, and perhaps most importantly, I believe that our citizens are hungry for consensus among our elected leaders. Hungry for leadership that recognizes I believe we are hungry for leadership that recognizes that our competition is Austin and Charlotte and Nashville and Birmingham, and it is not ward against ward, it's not council against mayor, it's not council against supervisors. Unified, Tupelo is a city to be reckoned with. To be successful, we all need, and I'm including me in this, we all need to be more broad-minded and less small-minded. Undoubtedly, Tupelo is better together. So these are the 3 things I believe to be relevant and true as I was thinking about my decision to run or not. So, my decision. When I was young, I wanted to play shortstop for the St. Louis Cardinals and win Wimbledon. I guess I would have had to do that during the All-Star break. I guess I didn't figure that in. Maybe I wasn't going to be an All-Star. I just got to play shortstop for the Cardinals. But being mayor of Tupelo has never been an ambition of mine. I have a good job. But we all have different chapters in the books that become the stories of our lives. And to echo William Faulkner about Oxford, Tupelo is this little postage stamp of America that I've always called home. Perhaps the acorn of that sense of responsibility to serve was planted when I took Citizenship Merit Badge from Mr. Eason at age 12 in Troop 12, and like the young Boy Scouts still do today, I pledged to do our duty to God and to our country. I do aspire to be, and I have tried to be, a servant leader, a consensus builder, and an encourager. And I will admit to one other trait that I think could be useful on behalf of our community. I am competitive. As an attorney, I advocated hard for my clients. As a local independent retailer, I've competed hard along with our staff to keep those jobs here in Tupelo and to succeed in the very competitive world of national retailers. How would you all like to have had 100 new competitors in one day, the day the mall at Barnes Crossing opened? You know, economic development is great, but you know, there could be a limit to it sometimes. I'm proud that despite these challenges, Reed's was selected by the prestigious Mississippi Business Journal as Mississippi's first store of the year, and that you and others continue to vote us Tupelo's friendliest store. I suppose anyone, and this is a confession, but I suppose anyone who has been rushed to the North Mississippi Medical Center emergency room for treatment of severe body cramps and dehydration because he would not give up to a player 20 years younger than he was on a 100-degree day at City Park in a tennis tournament qualifies as competitive. I'm not sure he qualifies as intelligent. But I will put that competitive spirit to work on behalf of our town and on behalf of your families and your businesses and your future. So in conclusion, newspaper columnist Charlie Reese in his final column earlier this year wrote, "The great advantage of a free society is the capacity to self-correct." I agree, and perhaps in one sense, to amend Faulkner's Nobel Prize address, past does not always have to be prologue. Next spring, our city will have a chance to make a fresh start. We will have a newly formed city council, if for no other reason than their numbers will drop from 9 to 7, and in a personal conversation, Mayor Ed Neely has told me that he is going to retire at the end of the term. Ed and Claudia Neely were backyard neighbors with Lisa and me for 10 years. I appreciate Ed's service to Tupelo, both as a councilman and as our mayor. I consider each of the current council men and women to be my friends, and I respect their personal desires to serve our city. Before reaching my decision, I had a good conversation, too, with my friend and my councilman, Dick Hill. Dick also assured me that he is not going to run for mayor next spring. So let me make this clear. I am not and will not be running against anybody. I will be running a 100% positive campaign for Tupelo, for a united Tupelo. I'm almost through. You could almost stay standing. Obviously, that's something that rings so true. So many people have told me just what your applause has corroborated. But I will be running a 100% positive campaign for Tupelo, for a united Tupelo, with the unshakable belief that what is good enough for some of us is good enough for all of us. If our campaign is successful, I will do my best to be the kind of leader you deserve. One who treats every citizen with respect, whether he or she is the bank teller or the bank president, whether he or she cleans up our restrooms or bats cleanup on our church softball team. I will serve with joy and a sense of humor. I will take the job seriously, but I will not take myself too seriously. Lisa will help me with this if that becomes a problem. I will seek cooperation from the new city council, not confrontation, understanding that the highest ground is often common ground. And importantly, I will ask each of you to give some of your time and your energy and your creativity toward making Tupelo and taking us proudly into the future that is not simply awaiting us, but coming at us full speed with its challenges and its opportunities. Our people have always been Tupelo's greatest asset, and today I'm calling on all of us, individually and collectively, to rededicate ourselves to being the kind of citizens we know how to be and that we must be if Tupelo is to continue to succeed. For finally, this story represents my vision of what our leaders, elected and unelected, must be. It's an event described in a sermon I heard by Bishop Kenneth Carter. It happened on a running track around a football field in a small southern town where the Special Olympics were being held. The event was the 100-yard dash. At the starter's gun, 5 athletes took off at different speeds, men and women, each with his or own physical challenges. Suddenly, at about the 60-yard mark, one of the athletes fell down on the track. When the others saw what had happened, instead of continuing to run, instead of taking advantage, One by one, they each stopped running, went back, picked up the fallen athlete, brushed the cinders off his hands and knees, and then all five, joining hands, began jogging, crossing the finish line together, all winners. That is my image of the Tupelo we know, and at our best we are. That is the Tupelo spirit. That is my vision for us together, black and white, Hispanic and Japanese, young and old, South Tupelo and North Tupelo, West Tupelo and East Tupelo, supporting each other, appreciating each other, winning together. I know that is your vision too, so with that vision as our goal, with humility and strengthened by your awesome presence here tonight, I announce my candidacy for the office of mayor of the city of Tupelo.